Hi boys and girls, I am going to be working on chapter 13, lesson 10, and it is problem solving investigation. So we're going to jump right in. We're going to do some drawings to help us figure out some of these story problems and kind of break them down and see what we need to know. So let's look at this first page. It says, Chloe's father is building a rectangular sandbox. It has a width of 4 feet and a length of 6 feet. The wood that goes around the sandbox costs $2 for each foot. If they have $50, will that be enough to buy the wood? It says, what facts do you need to know? Well, I need to know that the sandbox is 4 feet by 6 feet, and it tells us right there. Now, it says the wood cost, we know that it cost $2 for each foot. And we know they have $50. It says, what do you need to find? Well, our question is, if they have $50, will that be enough to buy the wood? The plan, when we're working this out, is I can draw a diagram to solve the problem. And you know, Mrs. Shreddy loves drawing pictures because I feel like pictures help us step through the story problem and figure out the answer. So let's look. We're going to do a diagram. Now luckily, they kind of did it for us. So let me scroll down a little bit so you can see. And I'll erase what I had up here so it's not in the way. And it says, draw a diagram to represent the sandbox. They did it for us, nice and easy here. The perimeter is 6 feet plus 4 feet plus 6 feet plus 4 feet, or a total of, and when I'm adding this up, I see, I have 2 10s here. So I know I have a perimeter of 20 feet. Remember, perimeter is the outside of the shape. Now what we need to do is we need to multiply the perimeter by the cost per foot. Well, we know we have a total of 20 feet. 20 feet times $2 is a total of $40. Well, since $40 is less than $50, they will have enough money. Now, is my answer reasonable? And explain. Well, yes, we know the answer is reasonable, so we're going to say yes. Now, explain. Remember in math, I said it's nice because when we're explaining things, we don't have to necessarily write things out in words. We can actually show math problems to explain how we got the answer. So, one of the ways that we could do it is kind of a long way, but we could say 6 feet times $2, times $2, plus 4 feet times $2, plus 6 feet times $2, plus 4 feet times $2 equals a total of $40. And then sometimes Mrs. Shreddy just likes a really simple way of putting it is, it's reasonable because I know that $40 is less than $50. Okay, so that's how we're stepping through these problems today. And so that was the first page in the first example. So let's move on to the next page. Let Mrs. Shreddy turn the page here. All right, and I'm going to scroll up to the top. We're going to practice the strategy now. Erase what's up here. Now remember, on our story problems, we want to read it a couple times. When you're going through a story problem, just don't read it and say, I don't know, I give up. Read it a few times. Sometimes there's extra information in there that you don't need to worry about. So remember, read through it a couple times. Now, this one says, a picture frame is 2 inches longer and 2 inches wider than the photo shown over here. What is the perimeter of the frame? Well, that makes sense. The frame's got to be bigger than the picture, right? Because the picture has to fit inside of it. So, what facts do we know? Well, we know that the length and we can put a bullet point, is 2 inches, or excuse me, the length is 2 inches longer, okay, than the 4 inches. And we know that the width is 2 inches longer than the 6 inches. What do we need to find? We need to find the perimeter of the frame. All right, so make sure you have that information. So we know we're going to be 2 inches longer in length and 2 inches longer in width, and then we can find the perimeter of the frame by adding up the sides. All right, so the plan. What is our plan? My plan is to, and Mrs. Shreddy loves this, draw a diagram. I love to draw pictures, draw diagrams, whatever will help me solve the problem. All right, so let me scroll down. All right, so I know my picture of that pretty sunflower up at the top, and I'm going to look at my book so I don't mess up the numbers. It was 4 inches here, and I believe 6 inches, yes, across the top. Now, I know my picture frame is 2 inches bigger, so let me grab another color. Okay, here's my picture frame. Now I drew it a little bigger just so you could see it. If I know it is 2 inches larger on this side, I know that 4 plus 2 is 6 inches. So therefore I know this side is 6 inches. And if I know this side is 2 inches bigger than 6 inches, 6 plus 2 is 8 inches. And this side then will be 8 inches. So to figure out now my perimeter of my frame, I just need to add it up. So I can do 8 plus 6 plus 8 plus 6 equals, and you know I like to do my 14 plus 14 equals 28 inches. Don't forget that unit. So I know my frame is 28 inches. Now, is my answer reasonable? Yes, it is, because I can say if I added 2 inches plus 2 inches plus 2 inches plus 2 inches, that was a total of 8 inches that I added to my inside, which was 6 plus 4 plus 6 plus 4 for a total of 20 inches, right? So I know that 20 inches plus 8 more inches was a total of 28 inches. So my answer does make sense and it is reasonable. Okay, good. I am going to do a few more with you on the next page. Some of them were a little tricky, so I thought let's go ahead and do those together to help you out. All right, let's head up to the top. Applying the strategy. Let's go with that one. All right, so let's look. Let's step it through. Let's read through it first. Phil cut a piece of yellow yarn that was 7 feet long. Kendra cut a piece of red yarn that was 2 feet shorter. William cut a piece of green yarn that was 3 feet longer than the piece Kendra cut. How long was the piece of yarn that William cut? All right, That's a lot of numbers, a lot of people. Step it through, draw your pictures. Let's look. Phil cut a piece of yellow yarn that was 7 feet long. All right, so let's do Phil over here. Now, let's just draw a piece of pretend yarn here, and we're going to say it was 7 feet long. All right, then Kendra was next. Kendra cut a piece of yarn that was 2 feet shorter than Phil's. So we'll say we'll go about right here, and we know that 7 minus 2 is 5. So we know that Kendra's was 5 feet long. Now William, he's our last one up here. William cut a piece of green yarn that was 3 feet longer than the piece Kendra cut. All right, so his was 3 feet longer. 5 plus 3 is 8. 8 feet. Now, I've done the work over here, so answering the question over here is going to be pretty easy. It says, how long was the piece of yarn that William cut? Well, it was 8 feet. So working that out and showing my work over there helped me find the answer very easily. All right, let's look at number 2. Let's see. Lisetta is planting flowers around the outside edge of her rectangle garden. The garden is 12 feet long and 10 feet wide. She will place 1 flower at each corner, and the remaining flowers will be placed 2 feet apart. How many flowers will she plant? All right, so let's look at that. She has a rectangle garden. All right, and we said that it is 12 feet long. All right, and 10 feet wide. So far, so good. She will place 1 flower at each corner. All right, let's do that. I'm just going to use X's, boys and girls. And the remaining flowers will be placed 2 feet apart. How many flowers will she plant? Okay, so if they're 2 feet apart, that means she put a flower down and then she went over 2 feet and planted another one. Then she went over 2 more feet and then she planted another one, and so on all the way around. So what we need to do is we need to figure out how many flowers will she plant altogether. Now we're going to do some division here to help us, boys and girls. So if she had a total of 10 feet and she planted a flower every 2 feet, we're going to divide 10 divided by 2, which is 5. On this side, which we know was 12 feet, we have to do 12 divided by 2, which is 6. So on this side she had 5 flowers planted. This side she had 6 flowers planted. Then we know again this side was 10 feet. So 10 divided by 2 equals 5. And over here 12 divided by 2 equals 6. Now all I have to do is look and say this side there were 5 flowers planted, 6 flowers planted, 5 flowers planted, 6 flowers planted. So now all I have to do is add it up. So 5 plus 6 plus 5 plus 6. We have 11 and 11. Add that together. She planted 22 flowers. And don't forget, boys and girls, to write that unit down. I'm getting some papers back and I've noticed some missing units, so be very careful that you're writing your units down. All right, let's move on to the next one. I have to scroll down. All right. A community center is organizing a dance. There are 4 large columns arranged at the corners of a square. The decorating committee will hang 3 large streamers from each column to every other column. How many streamers are needed? Let's draw our picture. Now this time we have a square. Okay? And in the corner of each square is a column. So we'll just do this as our columns. Okay? Now, from there, we have streamers that are hanging. 3 streamers that go from the column to all the other columns up there. So it ends up that we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so now we have our picture, and when you count all of those up, how many streamers are going to be needed? A total of 18. And then our unit again, streamers. All right, good. Let's go on to the last one that I'm going to do with you. And that's number 4 on this page. Number 4 says, a cafeteria table has a length of 8 feet and a width of 3 feet. If 3 tables are pushed together so their lengths are touching, what is the combined area of the tables? So we're looking for area on this first part. So let's see, we have these tables and we're going to push them together. And we know we have 3 feet and 8 feet. Now, I can very easily find the area for this first table because all I have to do is multiply 8 times 3 for a total of 24 feet. Well, I have 3 tables though that have that same area because this is 3 and this would be the 8. So another 24 feet and one more table for 24 square feet. I'm sorry, I need to put that square feet in there. Square feet. So 3, 8. All right. So now to find the area, we just need to add 24 plus 24 plus 24 for a total of 72 square feet. Okay, let's look at the second part. What is the perimeter of the new table? Again, remember perimeter's the outside of the shape. So if we look, we're done with the area, so I'm going to go ahead and just erase that so we're not thinking about that part while we're looking at the perimeter. So looking at the outside, we know that this is also 3, 3, 3. So what I'm going to do is I know that 3 3s are a total of 9 feet, total of 9 feet. So now all I have to do is add it up, which would be 9 plus 8 plus 9 plus 8. I see I have 9 plus 9. 9 plus 9 is 18. 8 plus 8 is 16. I can add that up for a total of 34 feet. So my perimeter for this is 34 feet. All right, boys and girls, lots of story problems. You do have, it's page 814, that's the page that you're going to do on your own. I think you can work through those pretty easily. I felt some of these were a little bit maybe more confusing, so I wanted to do them with you. So thank you for working so hard at home and keep it up. and I hope to see you soon. Bye, boys and girls.